by over 2 billion.
Yeah.
So year to date, revenue collection in terms of domestic revenue is performing fairly okay. Though when we go to the details, we try and look at some of the aspects that are not performing. So you don't expect government to not pay anything at all. But when we say government should make releases for areas that drives the economy, these are not the kind of releases that you're expecting. Okay. So these are reasonable. You are supposed to do it. Paragraph 100, he says expenditures were contained at 109 billion or 7.8 of GDP. This was 14% below the programmed amount. Their own programmed amount of 128 billion. They spent 109 billion. So these are the things you see in 109 billion. But the real sectors that you need to make releases that will drive the economy, what has happened?
But if government takes a decision to spend only on statutory obligations and also goods and services for a very good reason, and they've explained to you that they inherited an economy that was in distress and they needed to cool it off. And so you're not going to go start spending on the real economy. What they have said, the strategy or the thinking is, let's keep the statutory payments going. Don't touch it. Don't delay it. Make it timely because it has direct impact on people's lives. But then in the next 6 months, they will begin to do the very things that you want them to do. Indeed, if they've budgeted to spend 128 and they ended up spending 109, that's a massive surplus, isn't it? You should be.
That's why is the government presenting a budget to us in the first place. Okay. The budget is supposed to indicate how government intends to release resources or finance into the various sectors of the economy for the economy to grow and run.
And how they intend to generate those resources.
Exactly. So if you stifle a part, and even the releases, you've had an economy for half a year, and you are just releasing those money into the system. That is why nothing is happening. That is why people are not feeling the effect in their pockets. So of course, you are talking about a very good inflation, 13% from 20-something%. You are talking about good forex, 10.4, as against 14 or 15 where you took it from. But people can't even get the dollar. The businessmen are suffering. Go and check. People have delayed payment to their contractors outside the jurisdiction. These are not good and pleasant. You see, let's not behave. Finally, we will get there. Finally, whether you like it or not, the economy will respond to these issues in due course. But you need, for management purposes, to be very guided by the decisions you take, so that at the end of the day, at least, make sure that what is due certain areas, certain sectors of the economy, you make those releases so that the economy can function effectively. We're talking about roads, we're talking about agric, we're talking about energy. Yes, they had to make those payments because they were looking towards the levying. So if you don't do something to stabilize the energy sector, then there is no justification for collecting the 1 Ghana cedi. So it's like robbing Peter at one end so that you'll be able to make money to pay Paul. So at the end of the day, all that I'm saying in this preliminary remarks of the statement by the minister is that it is fairly okay.
Okay.
I'm not going to begrudge him for what he's done so far.
Right.
But the challenges are real. The risks are real. By the end of the year, when we come back to review the full year, then we will have the benefit of determining whether what was reported to us half year were just cosmetic, were just for us to play around the numbers, or the real nature of growth, the real nature of economic development that we envisage for this country, and the targets that they've set for themselves, they are going to achieve them at the end of the day.
Now, what's for you? Because you've seen the macro numbers.
Yeah.
and you've also seen the fiscal tables in terms of how much we've been generated, how much we spent. He first gave us an idea, and he is actually criticizing the fact that you came to us as a people, we gave you a certain amount of money. Instead of spending the money, you're more interested in spending far less than the money. What it means is that if you had even spent everything we've given you, and if you had spent everything that the monies we've given you, still would have stayed within fiscal consolidation, as we talked about. So what is it that is accounting for a situation where the government is spending far less than it could have spent? Because the money is there. It's not like money is not there. Because the money is not there, that's what you're talking about. You're running a fiscal deficit. So he is saying that by merely spending on statutory or, obeying statutory obligations,
an administrative
expenditure will not bode well for the economy. Do you agree with him as an economist?
Yes, let me take it from the preliminary comments that the minister made about the Ghanaian economy before coming to the fact that they have not been able to spend what they targeted. And the picture that the Ghanaian economy was very terrible at the time they took over. So you just have to refer to the main budget, which was read in March, and the indicators that the minister used to measure whether the economy inherited was good or bad. That was the ECOWAS macroeconomic convergence criteria.
Okay.
And so there are 6 parameters that are usually used to measure whether economic performance are good or they are not good.
Okay.
We have the budget deficit, we have inflation, and central bank budget deficit financing, and gross external reserve, nominal exchange rate, and the public debt. Out of the 6, you see, the budget deficit, we know that we mix it. So the minister score it has not achieved.
Okay.
And inflation supposed to be less than 5%. And reasonably, we will not be able to get it even this year. So that one was also mixed. But when you come to central bank financing, which is 10%, the minister scored it as achieved because there was 0 financing.
Okay.
Then gross external reserve, 3 months. At the time, we're doing 4 months. So the minister scored it as achieved. And the nominal exchange rate, the depreciation was supposed to be plus or minus 10%. We did about 19, so not achieved.
Okay.
Then the public debt, the convergence says that it's supposed to be below 70%. At the time, we had done 61.8.
Right.
Out of the 6, the minister scored that 5 has been achieved.
Right.
But realistically, the inflation target of 5%, we know that it couldn't have been achieved, or even in this year cannot be achieved. So we cannot talk about 5% inflation now. Taking that out, the minister himself would have scored the economy.
I thought the target was actually 11.8 there.
No, it's 5%. It's a single digit.
No, not for this year.
No, this year they are doing 11
Yes,
points.
11.8.
This next
it's
year,
13 points.
Yes.
I think 13.6 or 13.7
Yes.
at the moment.
Their target
And
is
his
11.
target is 11.
11.
But obviously next year he said he's targeting
it's going to single digit.
next year. Yes.
But the inflation target per the convergence supposed to be around 5%.
Okay.
Yeah, 5%.
For West Africa.
For West Africa.
Right.
So if we look at the
In fact, for
marking
us to be able
scheme,
to achieve the equal,
yes,
those are
the
some of the
ECOWAS,
indicators.
yes.
Okay.
The ECOWAS criteria.
Right.
So if we look at the marking scheme by the minister, the economy was doing 60%. This you can check from the budget, the main budget that was read.
Okay.
So if we have
When you say the
rated,
economy is doing 60% by way
that
of...
is if we take the 6 indicators,
Okay.
3 were achieved, 3 were not achieved.
Okay.
So it would have been 50% achieved.
Okay.
However, I'm just saying that the 5% within the boundaries we find ourselves, we know it's unrealistic. So I will not even pin this government to 5% achievement. Okay. So we will hold that one constant out of it. So it means that out of the 5, per the minister's submission to Parliament, the government or the economy has achieved 60%. You cannot say that the economy is bad.
Right.
Per your own criteria for measuring. So we just have to be fair. It is true that we were not in heaven. It is true that things have not been, but you have told us the economy was doing about 60%.
Right.
Yes. So the real challenge is that we shouldn't drive home that the foundations were bad. If the foundations were bad, I'm not sure 6 months we are going to be here. And that is the point. And we should also understand that the fiscal consolidation that the government is touting, it started not in 6 months ago.
Okay.
You see, the painful DDEP and the debt restructuring save us so much to give you the fiscal space. Just yesterday or so, France granted, as part of the bilateral debt arrangement, I think about over 90, let me get the right figure, over 90, a minute. France has canceled about $95 million debt relief. And they state that if you check DW News, it started 2 years ago. We were supposed to pay around this $95 million. And we are not going to talk about the previous debt that has been canceled. Somebody has started a journey. We should be fair, and whenever we are painting a picture, the journey didn't start today. If all the debts that were supposed to be paid from 2022 come, we are not saying the DDEP is pleasant. It is a painful exercise that I don't wish for any Ghanaian to go through again. But the drastic decisions that were taken has given government a breathing space to be able to plan, to delay payment, to be able to do what you're supposed to be doing now. So largely, we can say that certain seed that were sown is now beginning to yield. Let's take our external reserve or the international reserve. In 2024, December, our reserve was around, I think, $8.9 billion.
Yes, 8.98 billion.
Yes, approximately 9 billion.
Yeah, about 9
yes,
billion about.
That is covering about 4 months
of imports.
Good. Now, and our gold reserve was around about 30.5. Yeah,
30.5
tons.
Yes.
You see, let us be fair in the analysis. Gold price have gone up over 20%.
Mm-hmm.
So what it means is that if I have a gold of 1 cedi, the value would have gone up,
right,
over the years. So taking the same quantity of gold, the value would have gone up because in the global market, the value of gold is going up. It makes sense to say that the over $11 billion that we have in our reserve, the quantum of gold that we have, let us not forget that we are coming from a background of a gold reserve in 2023 May of about 8 tons. And it has been grown. If we look at the average monthly add up to our gold reserve was 1.1 tons per month. Currently, we are doing 0.4 tons per month.
Right.
Because the government has added about 2.9 or 2.5 tons within the 6 months. So even in monthly addition to our reserve, we are declining, we are coming down. You know, we're all in our quest to be able to sell gold and inject it into the economy to be able to cushion our cedi. So even with the cedi appreciation, it's because a certain reserve has been built, a buffer has been built. So you should not concentrate putting so much money there, but hoping that if the value of gold goes up in the international market, your reserve will go up. So the gold that you would have bought and kept, now you can buy and spend in a quarter $1.4 billion in the first quarter to support our cedi, which even the bank, the IMF have cautioned us that we must be cautious in terms of our support to the forex market. You know, I should say that the injection in it, you know, just the sustainability is what we are worried about. But it's a fair game. The government need to decide, will you allow the cedi to fall and we'll all start crying, or you find a way to support it. Just that it should be fairly balanced. So I'm coming from the premise that whatever we are witnessing today, you cannot plant cocoa today and harvest it today. Somebody has laid a foundation. And that is why you are able to have the free hand to move around, to be able to support your cedi, to be able to, the quantum of Eurobond interest and payment you would have paid would have been more than what the minister told us that has been paid, because a certain debt restructuring has gone on, and international creditors have had mercy on us to give us some debt reliefs. So, and even our credit rating, that is giving us a very good outlook. As of last year, September, October, we have been upgraded to C plus, C minus with a positive outlook. So you can see the trajectory has begun, and now we have upgraded into B, and we are expecting that it's continuing to be better. Governance is continuous, and we are expecting that this government will build on. Now, coming to your substantive question as to why government is not spending, but the money is there. I think the government is just being smart in a way that you have to delay payment. If I are doing business and I delay payment, it's financing to me. You see, you are owing contractors and you are auditing, you said you are auditing them. In the name of audit, these people have been delayed payment for 6 months. Moral, if you are owing a contractor or a business person 5 billion, the average interest rate in Ghana is around 30%.
Right.
Around it, because you can check around, it's about 30%. These businesses will continue to run. They will run on debt. They will go and borrow from banks.
Right.
Because they will not be waiting for you to come and pay them. So these guys will go for loans around 30%. Within the 6 months, if you borrow 5 billion, you are going to pay around 750 million on the average. Let's even say 500 million Ghana cedis as the interest.
Okay.
When you pay me, close to 15% of the money will be gone to be able to settle this bank interest.
Yes.
So in a way, businesses or contractors cannot have capital formation. They can't get a certain capital for expansion and for undertaking new projects. So in as much as, yes, you are buying time, it's providing financing to you. In a way, you are crippling domestic businesses.
Right.
You see, for foreign and international contractors, they can fall on their mother companies to finance them. But these local contractors who don't have any other business outside the country, and some of them are purely doing government projects, So if we delay them for 6 months, it is financing to the government, but there's more cost to the business person. We know eventually you will pay, but at what cost? That we need to have a proper conversation. So now you want them to come on board to help you implement 24-hour economy. 24-hour economy, which we are expecting 4 billion, government providing 300 million. A huge chunk is coming from these guys. And these guys don't have the capacity, or they've been crippled in a way that they don't have the capital needed because government is auditing and those funds are not about to be, or maybe released. But the cost of running for the past 6 months is so huge that government need to think deeply about it. It will interest you to know this is reflected in the economy. Why? Look at the various sectors. Agri grew by 6.6%.
Yes.
Services 5.9%. And industry grew by 3.4%.
Yeah.
Because the guys in there...
and construction comes under industry.
Yes. It comes under industry.
Yeah.
Manufacturing comes within the industry. So government should also see that his inability to pay them within the 6 months is reflecting in the figures that have been presented to us. It is either it's not expanding, they are not getting new contracts, they are not getting the funds to run. That is why industry is struggling. And more, until we address the industry, the dwindling industry in our country, we will not be able to achieve most of the things in the long term. In the short term, we applaud the government, but I should say that the fundamentals of the Ghanaian economy has not changed in the last 8 years. The government has done well, and we should not forget, we've been here before. You remember the famous Kenke party? The city has been arrested. Let us jubilate. And if we continue celebrating without addressing the fundamentals, where fundamentals means that let agric be strong. Let agric feed the industry so that industry will grow. But you will see that when agric is doing well, service is rather doing well, and industry is struggling. And in the past year, we had service sector that has been growing. If we take 2024, industry grew by 6.8%. The first quarter of 2024.
Right.
In the second quarter, industry grew by 9.3%. In the third quarter, 10.4%. In the fourth quarter, it slipped significantly to 0.2%. So you can see that we were not able to sustain the growth, growing on average around 8% throughout the 3 quarters of last year.
Okay.
Then we have dipped to 3.2 or so for this particular period. So largely, we need to pay attention to industry so that we will find a way to incentivize them. I think that the long-term sustainability of the gains that we have in the first half depend on our proper execution of, number one, the big push and the 24-hour economy. Okay. If we fail in implementing these two, then 2022 will even be worse. The years ahead will be worse than 2022, what we experience.
I see. There's two things I want to. I know you have a lot of responses to make, but I want to understand, for instance, why the Ghana reference rate, even though it's fallen from 29.31% in December 2024 to 24.0% in June 2025, but it's not reflected in the actual cost of borrowing money. And it's still hovering around close to 30% and so on. What do you think may be accounting for this? Because if you look at the parameters that's used for tabulating or for constructing the Ghana reference rates, we're talking about interest, we're talking about the interbank rates, talking about the treasury bills, and then you're also looking at the interest rates, and if you look at all of these, they're supposed to be looking very good. So how then do you have a Ghana reference rate of 24%? And yet real interest rate when I go to any bank today to go borrow, we're still hovering around 30 something percent. I don't know whether, and again, given the backdrop of what appears to be a case of a high non-performing loans situation that we're recording. So we'll come back and look at all of that. And also the issue about the government saying that, look, the appreciation of the cedi has saved the close to about 4.9 billion cedis. There's some issues there. I'll when I come back, I'll ask you a more specific question about this savings and whether that actually means that government has generated revenue. Do you get? Because there are some people who say when you save money, it doesn't necessarily mean that you've generated revenue per se in accounting terms. So I'll come back and ask you those questions. So stay with us. This is Inside Pages on the Metro Television. And Elisa, good morning, Ghana.
Branch manager. Of course, I accept only quality and affordable printed souvenirs for my promotional campaigns.
I'm the head of academic affairs of a very important institution in Ghana. Of course, we only deal with quality, reliable printing companies for our institution's printing materials. I'm talking about appointed time printing.
Appointed Time Printings. We take pride in our extensive print scope that transform your ideas into captivating visual masterpieces. We delve into the core objectives and vision of each print project. Precision printing is at the heart of our printing process as we meet your tight deadlines. Our rigorous inspection, color verification, and overall printing excellence are assured. 20 years of printing excellence. It's always a pleasure working with you to create a vibrant, dazzling printing experience that gives you a masterpiece. Appointed Time Printing, your world of quality and affordable printing.
Welcome to Rehoboth Palm, Ayimensa Gated Community. Nestled between the vibrant city of Accra and the breathtaking Ebri Mountains lies a serene gated community. Here, you'll find litigation-free, fully serviced demarcated plots to build your dream house in a gated community surrounded by lush greenery and the calming beauty of nature. Perfect canvas for your dream home you want to build. With well-tarred roads, a reliable drainage system, electricity and water, fully serviced plots are ready for your vision. Enjoy exclusive amenities like a swimming pool, tennis and basketball courts, all within the comfort of your community. Start your mornings with peaceful walks or energizing jogs under the shade of palm trees and stunning views of the Peduase Ebri Mountains and city skyline. Starting from 450,000 Ghana cedis and a flexible payment plan, visit www.rehobothpropertiesgh.com to make inquiries. Call or WhatsApp us on 020-682-3524, 055-375-1933, or 024-476-4499. Rehoboth Properties. Quality housing for all.
MGL Logistics and Supply is your trusted partner, providing seamless solutions for all your procurement needs. From sourcing products to managing imports and exports, we ensure smooth and efficient transactions every step of the way. Whether you require goods from across the globe or need assistance in exporting your products to international markets, we got you covered. General trading is at the heart of our expertise. We specialize in a wide range of products, catering to various industries and markets. As a trusted dealership in building materials, we provide high-quality products that meet the demands of our construction projects. Additionally, we act as manufacturers' representatives, connecting producers with distributors. Our expertise in logistics is the backbone of our operations. We plan and execute transportation and delivery of goods, ensuring they reach their destination on time and in optimal condition. MGO Logistics and Supply, guaranteed satisfaction.
The 2025 AMC Tycoon Africa Conference for us presents a unique opportunity for convergence. Convergence of ideas and innovation, convergence of marketing excellence and technological advancement, and most importantly, a convergence of people united by shared vision for a prosperous, connected, and empowered Africa. We are proud as your host, and to the guests who will be arriving from all corners of the continent and the world. I'm also excited with the theme, Enabling Africa Tech, Future Innovation, Standard and Global Influence, and Empowering Africa Marketing Industries. Let me assure you, Ghana is ready to welcome you with our open arms and our open hearts. And we say, Akwaba. Akwaba means welcome. We don't just say it, but we live it. We are warm, we're friendly, and very hospitable. Ghana is not just a destination, it is an experience. From the historic castles along our coast, that speaks of our resilience, the resilience of our people, our cuisine, the richness. When visitors come to Ghana, we will immerse you not only with our sight and sound, but our taste of our rich, unmatched cuisine. Ghana is where Africa.
All right, you're live on Inside Pages on Metro Television, and we are looking at the mid-year budget review by the Finance Minister. The Finance Minister appeared before the August House of Parliament and gave an account of how the economy has been faring in the last 6 months. Generally speaking, most Ghanaians think that the economy is not doing badly, but there are also concerns. There are risks. In fact, the Finance Minister himself talks about those risks. One of it has to do with the leakage of the customs. And, you know, the Finance Minister says he's trying to figure out how to block those leakages because the amount of money that we're making from the port is not, in fact, the amounts of money that we're making, the GRA is making from the port is not meeting it. They're not meeting their targets. One of the risks that he talks about. And of course, the energy sector as well is also a risk that the Finance Minister talks about. And there's one other one which has escaped me. But by and large, my guests here think that yes, if you look on the face of the pink sheet, it looks like we are on course, but there are deep-seated issues that we ought to look at. Otherwise, we'll be laughing at the wrong side of our mouths when when an external shock hits us as a country. I don't know whether it was Dr. Carter was supposed to come in before we took that. No, yes, I asked a question. So my question was the big difference between the Ghana reference rate, which is supposed to form a basis for setting the rates for the commercial banks, but there's a world of a difference. Do you know what accounts for this? Because if government is doing all of this, but the ordinary person is not feeling it directly in their pockets, I'm a businessman, I want to go borrow, interest rates are still high, but government tells me that the policy rate is at a certain level, which is supposed to be good. The interbank rates are supposed to be good. And then the treasury bills, which is tumbled down to as low as about, I think, 13 point something percent. Okay. And that in itself is killing appetite for people to invest. That's the downside too, because the numbers don't look that good. But of course, if you juxtapose the interest rate against inflation, then it's not that bad, because inflation is around it's about 13 point something percent. Yeah. And then because you always look at the relevance of the interest rate as against the inflation. Question number one, what do you think accounts for the difference? And then number two, the concerns that they've raised about the not investing in the real economy. So two questions in one. Two questions.
And before I answer those questions, I want to
respond to some of the things that he said.
Some of the things that he
That's
said. My brother, first of all, before an investor invests in an economy, it looks at some risk of investing.
Right.
It looks at the potentials. And some of the potential is that the government might be up straight in managing the economy well, in terms of micro stability, in terms of fiscal discipline, in terms of business environment, and in terms of policies, depending on the policy direction of the government. And then also the way government has allowed private partnership or private businesses to flourish. That strength gives an investor to come into your country and talk about the exchange rate and other things. Now, he said something beautiful, but I disagree with him. For the fact that you said gold has been stored over the years, blah, 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 and we have about 30 billion gold or something, the reserves. I want to tell you that I don't have problem with MPP trying to put to work hard to set the pace for continual government development or government progression. Because when we inherit government, we were supposed to continue from where we are.
Right.
But the problem they were having at the time was the mismanagement of the sectors of the economy. That is my problem. I will never sit as a citizen of this country without saying that of fear or favor. I'll say it. You see, sometimes we give laxity to ourselves and play the lazy game, and at the end of the day, it affects us. That is the reflection of what we see in the election. Look, I said that the day the MPP government announced one district, one factory, I said I was happy. If that had been done, we won't be where we are as a country. And I'm also saying, confident, that if they had managed the economy well, the reflection of the exchange rate will not affect them. If they had managed the economy well and the exchange rate had the way it has affected them, at the end of the day, investor confidence, you see investors folding back because they were not comfortable with certain decisions of government. Excuse me to say, the debt exchange. I told you that I was part of the technical team that was invited. I was the economic advisor to GFL. I was there. The way the whole program was being structured could not be favorable to Ghanaians and will never be favorable to Ghanaians because some people have worked so many years. That's the investment they have. And I'm saying that you could have looked at the mining sector and do something about it to solve the problem. That is not the only sector that can solve that problem. And you did that, and the whole thing failed. And if you sit here and say they have done well, that's your judgment. But for me, I was practically on the ground with them. And I saw how difficult it is. Even the debt sustainability desk in the Ministry of Finance, it was clear that they were even afraid of how the figures are rising. And I'm saying that borrowing is fine, but how are you servicing the debt? Over the years, you've not serviced the debt. And when we start servicing the debt, the other side of it is looking good. Why? Because the investor confidence is building up. the rating, the credit rating is building up. We are not saying we won't spend. In reference to honorable statement that they approved a certain amount of money, which is about 120 billion Ghana cedis. We are spending only 109. It is because we want prudent management of the economy. We cannot just dip our hand into the purse of the government and spend it anyhow. No, we need to look at the indicators where the need be. Then we can spend. That's a manager of a finance and economic planning. Now, coming to your question, you know that, Moro,
yes, sir.
Back on our ground here, especially in Africa and Ghana as a whole, the financial understanding is different.
Okay.
Why? Because people have not been educated enough to understand how finances work, how money management works. Because money management is a different thing altogether. Right. If you have one cedi, and you decide to buy water with that one cedi, and that's the only one cedi you have, then you are not using money prudently. You could have gone for 50 pesos and reserve 50 pesos in speculation that if something happened, you can cater for it. But what do we see in our part of the world? There are people who go borrow money and spend it on funeral. And how can you go to a bank, borrow money, and spend it on funeral? We need to do more education on how financial management is. Then our people will understand that if you borrow money from a bank, that is separate from you as a person. And if you take any amount from that money, you should know that it's a loan to you. You have to put it back. That is where we can reduce risk. And that will reflect into the non-performing loans that the banks are facing. You understand?
I get it.
I'm building the base because if you look at the interest rate, government can reduce the interest rate to the best minimum ever we have. But the people who are using that instrument, how well are they educated to be able to use that instrument? Do they understand well what interest rate is, what savings rate is? Do they understand treasury bills, how it works? It goes back to me to remind civic education in collaboration with Bank of Ghana to go into extensive education. And this is not party politics. This is the right of educating the citizens to understand the dynamics of money circulation, liquidity ratios, liquidity risk, and other things in the economy.
Right.
And it boils down to we, the educators, academicians, professionals, to be doing this time and again. Because a lot of people are holding money, but again, they don't know how to use the money. Go back to this.
Okay.
People are holding dollars, or people are selling dollars, and cross-border dollars are coming to the country and out of the country and all that. What are we doing as a country to make sure that we create a channel where there will not be money laundering? Those are some of the things that we have to be thinking about.
Okay.
As for money, if you want to go into money, we have to have a whole day to talk about money. Because it is a whole topic on its own. And we need to let people understand what is money.
Right.
The legal tender of this country, we need to understand it.
Okay.
So please, the interest rate can go to 13%. But do they understand?
Right.
We need to let our people understand. And we need to let them know what is treasury bill instrument.
Okay.
And the instrument we talk about is when government sell bonds. And what are bonds? In our local language, what are bonds?
Right.
They are government instruments that are sold to the public. We need to go down and explain it in our own dialect.
Okay.
So that people will understand. Because we can do anything we want to do. Bank of Ghana will bring the rate down. Yet still, people will not understand. It is only the educated elite. Honorable will buy treasury bill if the bills are appreciating to his investment, and I will do the same. But the ordinary Ghanaian, we need to.
We've just 5 minutes to end the program. Let me just read a few messages that have come through, about 3 of them, and then I'll split the 5 minutes between perhaps the 2 of you so that we can, because there's another show that's coming up. Okay. So this one here from Hassan Sawadogo, who says, "Salamu alaikum, brother. How much was the dollar at the black markets under the MPP? It was $17 at black markets, and 13 now at black markets, which is better." And Papa Bisu sends a long one, but I'll try. Good morning, my brother. When you listen to MP members speaking to issues relative to Ghana's economy and the GM's government, where a litre of fuel is less than 13 cedis, that's even adding 1 cedi fuel levy to, as safe under their rule, we're buying a litre of fuel at 10 cedis. Kindly remind them that that's not the case. It was around 17 cedis a litre, hence they should give us a break and stop polluting minds. Maybe they need an education on 1 cedi fuel levy. It is to retire the energy sector debt, which was a headache under their rule, and they did nothing about it. Same can't be allowed to happen since we want a stable power. Supply 24/7 towards industrial growth and others for the betterment of Ghanaians. That's from Papa Bisiu in Accra. Alhaji Hamza from Pig Farm says, "Good morning. Truth be told, I was more than the word happy listening to the finance minister present the budget to Parliament. It's a budget that gives hope and inspires the Ghanaian. I was particularly happy to see that no new taxes has been introduced in this budget, and additional monies to spend was not requested from Parliament. This is what we call the people's budget. Long live President Mahama, long live the NDC. And as for the MPP and the micro-minority, the least said about them, the better." And this one here from Mr. Nyantichi, he used to be the MD for TV3 back in the day. He says, "Good morning. Simply put, the successful trajectory the economy is heading can be attributed to the political leadership provided by His Excellency President Mahama through disciplined fiscal policies of the Ministry of Finance and the prudent and pragmatic monetary management by the Bank of Ghana." And that's from Mr. Kofi Nyanchechi. All right, so I guess that we have 4 minutes? Oh, 3 minutes, okay. So in conclusion, Mr. Nyakun, what are you saying in conclusion? So that I can give the rest of the minutes to Eric. Yes, sir. I know. It's 2 hours.
I just had one major submission.
Oh!
For the day. And,
I'm so sorry.
But there are so many aspects of the budget review that I would have loved to discuss. So let me take a bit of the gold board and its consequences on our fight against Galamsey. If you read paragraph 275, the minister said that in the first year of 2025 alone, gold exports from small scale stood at 51 tons with an export value of approximately 5 billion. He said the figure exceeds 26 tons with a value of 1.8 billion. 278, he says that the value of gold export from small scale mining increased by 180% for the first half of 2025 over the same period of 2024. The question that we're asking, which is very important, is that we are just churning out these numbers, forgetting that the drive of this gold has its roots and traces to the illegal mining that we are seeing in this country.
Right.
And there's no traceability from government between the gains that we are receiving in the area of the gold board vis-a-vis the fight against illegal mining. Muro, we are sitting on a time bomb.
Right.
The devastation to our land and our forest reserves and to our nook and cranny of this country is very alarming. To the extent that illegal mining is now finding itself to the main roads and the highways of this country. I stated that when you come close to even Sekindi Takra, the metropolis, just around Iskado, city center, people have started mining, illegal mining in those areas. So all this that we are saying, the reserves, the amount of money that we are receiving from gold board, and the cushioning of the, How sustainable are these to the destruction of our land?
I understand.
Look at the cost of water now.
Okay.
So, Moro, don't take me out. I just looking for 2 minutes.
Take us off in 2 minutes.
So, I want as a country to really think deeper into this whole business of gold transaction vis-a-vis the destruction of our land. And the fight against illegal mining should be a national crisis for which we need to save this country. Thank you.
Sir.
I want to say that as a country, we cannot tax our way out of debt. So the premise that the de-levy is to pay energy sector debt, I think is not sustainable. Then we should as well levy everybody so that our debt will come to zero.
Okay.
When ESLA started, we were told that we were going to use ESLA to pay off energy sector debt. We still have a huge debt we are paying.
True.
I think what government should come clear is because I'm scribing these taxes, my revenue shortfalls, I need something to cushion. So this de-levy will be able to cushion us. And we should also be prepared for the implication should the global demand for oil changes.
Okay.
Are we giving a sunset window that if price start going up, this de-levy will come down or it will be taken out?
Right.
We should give that what do we call it, indication, so that in the case where things change, we can correct it.
I'm so grateful, gentlemen, for joining us this morning. It's always a pleasure having the two of you join us, or the three of you join us. So Dr. Eric Boachi-Yadom is a financial economist, a senior lecturer banking and finance department, UPSA. He's a fellow of APL. And Dr. Julius Kweku Kata is a fellow chartered economist, member of the National Communications Team of the NDC, and also Isaac Buamanyako, who is the Honorable Member of Parliament for the Efia constituency. I want to say a big thanks to the three of you for joining us. And also, Joe Jackson couldn't join us. Something came up with his flight arrangement, and so he couldn't join us. We sincerely apologize for that. Have a wonderful weekend. Coming up is your favorite health show. Stay with us.
The 2025 AMC Tycoon Africa Conference for us presents a unique opportunity for convergence. Convergence of ideas and innovation, convergence of marketing excellence and technological advancement, and most importantly, a convergence of people united by shared vision for a prosperous, connected, and empowered Africa. We are proud as your host, and to the guests who will be arriving from all corners of the continent and the world. I'm also excited with the theme, Enabling Africa Tech, Future Innovation, Standard and Global Influence, and Empowering Africa Marketing Industries. Let me assure you, Ghana is ready to welcome you with our open arms and our open hearts. And we say, Akwaba. Akwaba means welcome. We don't just say it, but we live it. We are warm, we're friendly, and very hospitable. Ghana is not just a destination, it is an experience. From the historic castles along our coast, that speaks of our resilience. The resilience of our people, our cuisine, the richness. When visitors come to Ghana, we will immerse you not only with our sight and sound, but our taste of our rich, unmatched cuisine. Ghana is where Africa...
Are you a Ghanaian business ready to conquer new frontiers? From October 23rd to 25th, 2025, Ghana Fest Europe is your direct bridge to the lucrative Dutch and broader European markets. This is the ultimate platform to showcase your high-quality Ghanaian products and services. Ghana Fest Europe, proudly presented by Ram Media Concept in collaboration with the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce and Industry and under the auspices of key key Ghanaian government ministries and agencies, facilitate powerful B2B networking, attract foreign direct investment into your enterprise, from fintech to